Sonic Generation was released in 2011 to mass success, mostly. Everyone loved the game, including me, Silver. Also, future me, could we get a better background than this black void behind me? Something better, please? I do have some history with this game. Back when it first came out, I borrowed it from my local library and absolutely loved it. Of course, since I borrowed it, I eventually had to return it before I even could beat it, and I was never able to beat it since someone always managed to get it before me. But now, thanks to the PC port, I can finally finish the whole game. So, now that it's been about 12 years after its release, let's take a look and see if this game still holds up after all this time. So, the game just starts with the first level that is currently unknown. Yeah, I got no idea where we are. I've never seen this place before. Wait a minute. Oh wait, yes I have! Oh, this is one of my favorite Sonic levels. Oil Desert Zone! No, of course it's Green Hills. What else would it start with? However, I shouldn't really be sounding this negative when this is one of, if not the best version of Green Hills. I mean, it looks amazing. Sonic Forces, a game released 6 years after this, pales in comparison to the absolute beauty that is the Sonic Generation version of Green Hill Zone. Also, the level design for the stage is fantastic since it gives the player an opportunity to get a feel of classic Sonic's controls. Speaking of which, classic Sonic controls pretty well with his moveset being the basics for a platformer. Unlike his modern counterpart, he only really has one unique move, his spin dash, which, if you've played a Sonic game, you know how it works. You know, curl up into a ball and then you fucking zoom off. However, there is one problem to Classic's controls, which is his jump feels, how should I say this, floaty? Whenever I jump in a classic Sonic game, it goes up and down. Like how jump is supposed to work, duh. But when I jump in Sonic Generation, it feels like he has too much airtime, which yes, could make some platforming easier by you getting a higher jump, but it also makes some platforming harder since it makes him harder to control. I'll try to show what I mean. Anyways, Sonic runs past the goalpost and where is he going? Real quickly, cutscene quality bad, lost the footage, don't have enough time, let's just fucking move on. Sonic is running along Green Hill as... Suddenly, we flash forward to the future, where the non-Sonic gang is preparing for a party, as Tails comes along and tells them that Sonic is fast approaching like he's some kind of fucking speed demon coming to suck their souls. You know, I like this cutscene. It shows a side of Sonic and the gang we don't see very often. Them just chilling, not having to worry about a threat or anything, or the world getting destroyed. Too bad it's ruined by... After this cutscene, Sonic is now in white space, which is the main hub area for the remainder of this game. Following that, the second act of Green Hill finally starts. It is amazing seeing how Sonic Team managed to pull off and make Green Hill a great stage back to back. Not only with the level design, but also the music. I mean, take a listen. And the controls makes everything so much better. Unlike his classic counterpart, modern Sonic uses most of the buttons on your controller. Sonic moves and jumps like his older counterpart, but unlike him, he can homing attack by pressing the jump button twice close to an enemy, otherwise he has does an air dash. Boosting is another thing modern Sonic has. By pressing the square or X button, again depending on the console, Sonic will, well... And I like the boost mechanic. For the first 3 games being Unleashed, Colors, and Generations. I feel that Sega needs to retire the boost mechanic and the 2D sections, but we'll get to those soon enough. Back to Sonic's moves, Sonic can also drift in this game, which is as simple as just pressing one of the bumper buttons as he's going fast. And that is all of modern Sonic's moveset. Okay, it's time to talk about the 2D sections. Man, what can I truly say about the 2D sections? Well, they stink, like a lot. Sure, they're pretty fun when you're playing as Classic because, well, he's meant for it, but modern Sonic is meant for 3D. If I wanted a modern 2D Sonic game, I would play Sonic Advanced, Rush, Rivals, Rush Adventures, Rivals 2, Episode 1 of Sonic 4, or Colors! Both the DS and Wii versions, as they're both fucking 2D. Why do I like this franchise? Anyways, Sonic enters the rail grinding segment where we get chased by big, scary fish. So after Act 2, Sonic returns to White Space, and fun fact, it's only called that through the OST, never inside the game. He sees that the white frozen Tails that was standing legit 2 feet from the entrance gets its colors returned to him, which frees Tails from being a statue. Yo, Tails, you bitch, recognize this place?
Nah, I don't think we've been here before, Sonic. Also, I saw some strange buildings over there you might want to check out.
Well, it's not any stranger than the plot of Secret Rings or Colors, at least. Sonic, just move to the next fucking stage already. Man, just let me be. So, the buildings Tails mentioned and the next 2 acts is the chemical plant zone from Sonic 2. Now, I've played all variations of this stage, and I can say with 100% that this is one of the best versions of Chemical Plant, if not the best version of Chemical Plant. It is a really refreshing take on a stage that is 30 years old at this point, and I feel that maybe I should have maybe taken some notes from this stage. But I can't really say that because Mania has that sick-ass second act, so you know. The level design is one of, if not the best part of the stage. There's so many new paths to take in the stage through, well, new breakable walls, water slip and slides, and of course, the dreaded water. I mean, the pink water's not that bad. And the more factory-esque background definitely makes us feel like we're running through one giant chemical plant that we only get to see one fraction of. You also get to see other parts of it if you're high enough on stage and look at the background. And again, the music is great. Like, holy shit. Listen to the entire soundtrack of Sonic Generations. It is just fantastic remix on top of fantastic remix. Anyways, on to modern Sonic's chemical plant. You know how I said that Act 1 kind of felt like a small part of one giant factory? Well, here it feels like we get to explore every corner of that factory. Like, there is so much to talk about this stage. You get to run on water if you have enough boost, climb higher and higher into the plant, and even yippee! And you even get to skydive after that. As you exit out of the chemical plant, it's in ruins, like someone came along and began destroying everything. I mean, look at the result screen, like what the fuck? With the level being concluded, we get a cutscene between the duo of Sonic and Tails, both talking about how the chemical plant seems familiar to them, with them eventually leaving together. Amy, who was previously frozen near the chemical plant, gets unfrozen and a new cutscene starts playing. This happens every time you complete a zone, with a new character every time. I won't touch on this too much, but there is a problem later on which I will talk about, well, later on. And then there's Sky Sanctuary Zone. Oh boy, where the fuck do I begin? First of all, why would you pick Sky Sanctuary as your representation for Sonic 3 Knuckles? Sky Sanctuary, yes, it could be regarded as a pretty iconic level, but when you think of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, do you really think Sky Sanctuary first, and not Angel Island Zone, or like Hydrocity? Second of all, what did you do to Sky Sanctuary? I loved Sky Sector when I played Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Not the best stage, but I still thought it was good. It was a great, suspenseful final stage before battling Mecha Sonic and getting up on the Death Egg to take down Eggman. But look at you now. All of your awesome colors have been sucked out and instead replaced with bland marble textures and pale, boring plans. Look at the original and just compare it to this. There's not much else I want to talk about because this stage honestly doesn't have a lot going for it. Next. Oh yeah, Act 2. I almost forgot about that. Alright, let's get this shite over with. Wow, that's a surprise. Somehow all of the life that got sucked out of Act 1 kinda got spat on to Act 2. The bricks are more yellow, the flowers feel more vibrant and colorful, and there's this beautiful indoors and temple area which makes the stage feel fresh. Unfortunately, there isn't much else to talk about since, yeah, again, it's kinda bland. But despite that, I am glad that the level at least looks a bit better now. So with the first couple of stages now being completed, the first boss is now available. However, the fight is locked behind a gate that you need 3 keys for. You get these keys after doing a challenge stage at one of the zones you just completed. I really like this, because the challenges are fun and you even get music and artwork from them. I'll start with Chemical Plant since, oh, fuck everything else. This takes priority. I love this cutscene. Not only does it have the best song in the entire game, the absolute banger known as Stardust Speedway Japan Remix, but it also shows how to defeat Melsonic before the fight. You see how he does this overcharge attack in the cutscene and how Sonic attacks him right after that? It kind of shows how you need to wait for him to overcharge and then attack him. Melsonic has 3 attacks. His overcharge dash thingy, and super version of that overcharge dash thingy, and his laser attack. They're all pretty easy to dodge since this is the first rival battle, but they're still a nice challenge. 3 hits later and Melsonic is once again defeated until Sonic 4. And then we're rewarded with the purple Chaos Emerald. This is the main way of collecting the Chaos Emeralds throughout the game, by completing both the rival battles and the boss battles. Anyways, well, what were we doing? Alright! Boss battle keys! After completing the 3 challenges, you will be able to open the gate with Sonic walking through it. That starts a new cutscene. Which strangely reminds me of something. What? So, I like this cutscene. I think it's a genuinely fun first reaction between the 2 Sonics, thinking that it's just some funhouse mirror type thing, but it does kind of drag with the whole 20 seconds of them doing the whole charade of that before Eggman actually comes in and intervenes. Speaking of which...
It's the last look you'll get before I close your eyes forever.
Another Sonic? What? Wait a second!
You know, for the fastest thing alive, you sure are slow sometimes, Sonic. Wait a minute, is that a fucking... After that, we follow Classic as he enters the Death Egg, where... the Death Egg robot appears and the first boss battle starts. It starts off with Eggman jumping around the Death Egg station using his jump attack, and when that's done, Eggman will use his homing arm attack, which you will have to dodge. These are his two ways of attacking during this boss battle. If you manage to dodge those attacks, you will get the chance to attack Eggface by getting behind him and hitting him in the Tukis area. After hitting him 3 times, the fight will transition into its second phase, a 2.5D fight against the Death Egg robot. Now your way of hurting him has changed. Eggman will now use his homing arm attack to try to hit Sonic, and it's your job to activate the bombs around the arena so Eggman will hit them, allowing you an opportunity to jump on his arm, which hits the mech's head. 3 more hits to the noggin, and the first boss is defeated.
Wait a minute, shouldn't the Death Egg blow up by now? Classic finally returns to the White Spades and finally meets modern Sonic.
Alongside the two Tailses, which really doesn't make any sense. Why is Classic Tails even here? He doesn't really add anything to the story.
The gang deduces that they're traveling through time and space, and the giant fart cloud appears once again and unlocks the second era for us. And I've named this area the Dreamcube era. It was either that or the Gamecast, so I picked the better option. So the Dreamcube era consists of Speed Highway from Sonic Adventure 1, City Escape from Sonic Adventure 2, and Seaside Hill from Sonic Heroes. So I decided to play Speed Highway Act 2 first, and I kind of regret that because Speed Highway Act 2 is kinda meh. It's very boring and not very fun, is what I'm trying to say. A new move is featured here, the Lightspeed Dash, which works like this. You press Y or triangle and quickly dash through a line of rings with a glowing aura around them. And that's really it. There's not much else to talk about Act 2. I'll give it this. The city looks really nice, but unfortunately we barely get to see it. Act 1 is way better than Act 2, and I think it's because I loved playing the original Speed Highway and Sonic Adventure, and now it just cuts out most of the charm and just makes me not like Sonic Generations Speed Highway. Also, they cut out the damn civilian area from Sonic Adventure DX, what? Anyways, Act 1 is great. I mean, you get flinged from construction equipment, we get to see more of the city, plus the hotel area, which is very nice.
You even get to grab onto a helicopter.
And then, it was time for the best stage in the whole game. City motherfucking Escape. The city looks equally, if not better than the original. In the first City Escape, we had mostly normal city buildings, like grey apartments, stores, stuff like that. But in the new one, we have colorful, like, normal houses, and, well, more civilian areas, more parks, more stuff like that. That's because in Sonic Adventure 2, the development team was in San Francisco, and they took a lot of things that they saw around them. So back in 2001, the city looked a lot more different than it did 10 years later, which is how they made the City Escape look like now. And I just love that. That has like a lovely charm to it. And the first act is amazing. Like his modern counterpart, the classic Sonic can now grind on rails. But instead of actually grinding on them, he just rolls on them. And it's really, like, funny looking. He can also grab a skateboard from a skateboard monster. But, unfortunately, I couldn't get it. One problem I have with the stage, at least for classic Sonic's version, is that we mostly traverse construction equipment and gun objects like throughout the level, which is kind of boring. I would have loved if we jumped house from house, kind of like a rooftop run. But something that makes up for it is the gun truck following you throughout that whole level, which I managed to dodge. And the billboards in the background really makes the city feel alive, like the Tails Mobile one, Fang, Bark, Bean, Ray, and Mighty's Wanted posters. Why couldn't they bring them back for this game? That would have been a very interesting plot point, like having both friends and enemy return for this game. Would have been an interesting concept, but again, something this game unfortunately doesn't have. And I finally know how the Chaotix earns money. I just don't like the implications of it. Act 2 begins almost the same as the original, but then the skateboarding segment continues with new areas with ramps that give you boost, you being able to grind on steel wires, which unlocks newer paths, and Sonic in the end finally kicking his feet off the board and immediately being able to homing attack a couple of enemies into a new area, which gives you more speed, which I think is one of the coolest shit in the Sonic game to date. The level follows the original mostly. There are a few expenses here and there, like you running on top of rooftops, traversing more construction equipment again. God. We're this far into the level and I don't see the...
So, Gun really upgraded the truck from last time we saw it back in Adventure 2, now with Mega Buzzsaws that can cut you in half if you don't quick step, jet rockets that will fly after you at the speed of fucking sound, and just to cap it off, a huge fucking explosion.
I mean, can you imagine that in real life? Wait, what's that? Oh shit! We save Rouge in this area and...
Thanks, Big Blue. That's the first time I've ever been stolen.
What happened here? I know I haven't talked about the rescue scenes much, but I have to talk about this one here. The current voice actress for Rouge isn't as good as the old ones. So the current voice actress for Rouge is Karen Strassman, which sounds like this.
Thanks, Big Blue. That's the first time I've ever been stolen. Thanks, buddy. The thing that snatched me was like nothing I've ever seen before. Watch out. Come to think of it, you're nothing like the Sonic I've seen before.
And the previous actresses, Lani Mulaney and Kathleen Delaney, Rouge sounds like this.
Just let it go. You just don't know when to give up, do you? I despise anyone who takes jewels from me. All the world's gems are mine to keep. Man, who are those creeps over there? Just what do you think you're doing here? You guys don't fool me. I know what you're after. Better stay out of my way.
Who knows what interesting little tidbits you can pick up if you hang around long enough. Who knows? Working as an agent, I just might get closer to the Chaos Emerald. Mr. Prez, you got yourself a deal. Better behave yourselves. Hey, ladies first!
Notice how the old Rouge sounds more brash and confident, like she knows what she wants and she'll always get it, and not like she's permanently stuck on the seduce setting. But this isn't Karen's fault, not at all. She's a very good actress that can play this. I mean, listen to some of these examples.
And his greatest assassin. I trust no Khan. I am over 10,000 years old. Your very presence mocks me. Your souls will soon be free. We have fought before, Construct. Go back into hiding. I have bested you before, Cage. You're gonna need a nurse. There is a problem I must solve. Damn it! How did things end up like this? Well, I can still manage. Come to me! I'll fight you, but you better make this fun. Can't start the show without the star. Didn't expect this.
Sonic Team, what the fuck are you doing? You have a perfectly good actress that can play your role, and yet you do this. Speaking of more problems, Seaside Hill! What the fuck happened here? From what I've played from Heroes, the stage is amazing and it looks wonderful. So what happened here? It's Sky Sanctuary Act 2 all over again, but now it's reversed. Instead of beautiful short inside areas, we have long, ugly, dark temple areas with ugly textures. Just to drive in my point further, let's compare Heroes Seaside Hill plus some segments from Ocean Palace to Generation Seaside Hill. So the original Seaside Hill is composed of mostly being on the beach side. The palace is only here in small bits and pieces, almost like an old civilization found these beautiful hills and began to build a long road to their palace. In Sonic Generations, it's a short stroll to the temple. OG Seaside Hill lasts around 5 minutes, and Sonic Generation it's 3 minutes on average. In both Seaside Hill and Ocean Palace and Heroes, you're outside in this beautiful area, and when you aren't, you're inside this temple that has nice textures and good lighting and everything. But in Generations, fuck you, take this butt-fugly recreation of Seaside Hill and Ocean Palace with piss-dark inside areas. Do you guys now see what I mean? Why not just recreate the original or use another levels from Heroes? At least we have the funny car segment from the original, which we get to drive 3 times in the original, whilst in Generations we only get to drive once. Hopefully Act 1 is better. Why are you doing this to me?
Wait, why do I feel so HD all of a sudden? Ah, fuck.
So Act 1 begins with a long, slow, boring underwater segment. My gun's already loaded. After the level we get to go on land and it's pretty fun. I don't actually mind it. We get the classic rock chase from the original, and unfortunately the level ends a bit too early. There is, again, not much to say here. There's some platforming here and there, like some floating platforms, but that's it. The level's pretty bland. At least the music is good, which you don't get to hear half the time thanks to the water.
Maria!
It's time to fight Shadow the Hedgehog.
Well, I say fight, but it's more a race?
Okay, so this is how it works. You need to collect these power orbs to get into a super boost form and drain Shadow's rings before eventually boosting into him and defeating him. I didn't realize this. I thought you were supposed to homing attack him when his rings were depleted. And it's really not that interesting compared to like the fight in Adventure 2, since the fight in Adventure 2 was, yes, you two racing, but you attacked each other while racing. It wasn't just boosting. Also, Shadow goes down super easily. Like, Metal took 5 hits, the Death Egg robot took like 2 in the ass and 3 to the head, and Silver, when I eventually get to him, took 6 hits. Sega did Shadow kinda dirty in this battle, but it's still good, so, you know. Hey, what is that? Ugh! Arm Sonic vs. Perfect Chaos is the best boss battle in this game, and the redesign is so good. The scales are amazing. What looks to be Chaos Emerald energy flowing inside of him is so cool. The Emerald Teeth is a chef's kiss, and the energy source inside the head, it looks perfect. The perfect amount of chaos for, well, perfect chaos. I also love how you boost on top of the water, like how you boosted on top of the water in the original. And then running towards Perfect Chaos, rushing into his body and exploding out of the top of his head, launching you back into the city. And that kick-ass new version of Open Your Heart, performed by both Crush 40 and Circuit Frick. Frick? Mm-hmm. What sucks is this boss battle is cut short. 4 hits, then boom, Perfect Chaos is gone, and it's always the best boss battle in the game, which doesn't bode well for the future. After the fight, the final era is now unlocked, the Modern Era, which consists of 3 levels.
Crisis City from Sonic 06, Rooftop Run from Sonic Unleashed, and Planet Wisp from Sonic Colors, or as you Brits call it, Sonic Colors. This is the perfect set of levels thematically. These are all the most recognizable levels from their respective games.
So, let's jump into Crisis City.
As someone who loves Sonic 06 and loves the original Crisis City, I can say this perfectly, that this is a great version of this level that gives it some well-deserved respect. What's wrong with it getting respect? Oh, you guys are angry at me for liking Sonic 06. Hey, I can explain that at a later date. The level feels a lot more fast-paced than the previous version, and the details are great. All the small details from the lava having like heat wavy thingies to the larger detail like the level looking even more destroyed than the original, and like, yeah, it's just great. And Act 1 is much different. I mean, it's also great. Got great level design, good enemy placement, and look, the level's already over. Oh, bitch. So, Rooftop Run is a bit confusing. More specifically, Act 1 is confusing. I had to restart this level 3 times because I got stuck on this, and oh, this. The Catacombs area that was only featured in the nighttime stages is perfectly done here. Like, good platforming and all. There isn't much to say. The final part of the area is being chased by the laser mechs on Spigonia's version of the biggest of Bends. The constant danger of these indestructible feeling mechs chasing you as you're scaling up a huge clock tower while trying to stop Eggman's ship is just great. Well, that was a real clock block. After that, we take out the last few enemies and move on to Act 2. Act 2 is all around great. The level design is so much more different than the original version of Rooftop Run, which is great. It fits Generations level design much more, and now you explore the whole town, like in the original, which includes an extended version of the clock tower area, and it's just all around amazing.
And then, it was time for the final level, Planet Wisp. Say what you will about the level, but the planet looks beautiful, and the first half of the level is just being outside on the grassy fields of Planet Wisp. But then we go into the mechanical area, and it's lucky that Sega kept the level design from Sonic Colors, because it's all just fucking 2D sections from here out forward. It took me 6 minutes to complete this level, thanks to the slow 2D sections, boring level design, and a fucking Wisp rocket. Fuck this stage. Act 1 isn't much better. Instead of being outside for at least a semi-long time, we almost immediately go inside the mechanical area and another Wisp returns. And I want you to take a guess which Wisp returns. And if you guessed Spike, then yeah, you're fucking correct. But Classic already has the spin dash, so why give him a power-up? It just allows you to stick to the wall. It would have been better if Classic Sonic had gotten Rocket and Modern Sonic had gotten Drill, because Spike is a slow and bad Wisp, and I think Drill would have worked better. The level design is boring, and I'm mentally drained. Next. The final rival battle is now available. Modern Sonic vs. Silver the Hedgehog. Silver has 2 phases. Fighting phase and last resort. The fighting phase consists of him attacking you with psychic powers. He has 5 attacks, one-way debris, multiple pickup, psychic knives, the trash truck, and the truck smash. You attack Silver by homing in on his one-way debris attack, which makes him do the multi-pickup attack. Now you can homing attack all of the targets and before locking onto Silver. Repeat this 4 times and Silver does his final attack, Meteor Smash. Silver is throwing everything at Sonic, who is boosting it for his life. This attack is, well, as I said, a last resort. Sonic is running away from Silver's final attack before Silver eventually gives up and Sonic hits him one last time, defeating Silver for good. You already know the deal by now. 3 challenges later and the final boss, well, not final boss, but final normal boss is unlocked. The Egg Dragoon.
Yay, more complaining. Okay, so don't get me wrong, I like the Egg Dragoon. I think it's a great fight in Unleashed. But there, it was not a battle of speed, it was a battle of strength. It was an unbeatable machine versus the pure power of the Werehog. Also, how many really remember the Egg Dragoon compared to like the Egg Beetle, the Negative Wisp armor, or what I think should have been the third battle, Mephiles?
Unfortunately, we're stuck with the Egg Dragoon, which is a boss battle where you dodge his fire and ice attacks, his weird wall attacks, and that's about it. You heard him a couple of times and boom, like the rest of them, boss battle over. I am done with this boss battle. So, at this point, you should have beaten every stage, every rival battle, and every boss battle, which gives you all 7 Chaos Emeralds, and now you can fight the final boss. The gang of the Sonics and the Tailses enter through the boss battle gate and see the Cloud Monster. And it has been revealed that Eggman have been controlling the Cloud Monster all along. What a goddamn plot twist. Eggman had help from someone else, his younger self, because this game is about time travel and you should have seen that twist coming. Eggman, the modern one, explains that the giant far cloud, more commonly referred as the Time Eater, is a creature that can control time and space. So he just found it and was like, hey, that's pretty neat. How about I use that to erase my past mistakes and just fucking become king over time? As soon as Eggman reveals his plan, the duo of Sonic, and well, Sonic, goes to the attack, trying to defeat the two doctors.
But guess what? Eggman actually wins by smashing Sonic like he's some kind of bug. And that's it, that's the end of the game. Goodbye everyone, roll credits! Fuck, there's more, isn't there?
Well, Sonic's friends appear at the end of the time vortex location, and well, you know what happens next.
Come on, Sonic! Smack him!
You've got this, Sonic.
You can win, Sonic.
You've got the power, Sonic.
Focus your spirit.
We're with you guys! I believe in you, Sonic! Don't give in, Sonic!
I know you can do this, Sonic!
You can win, Sonic! You always do!
For the power of positive reinforcement, Sonic and Classic Sonic finally floats up into the air, turning super and waking up. This leads into the final fight against the Eggmans and the Time Eater. So here we are, the final fight. Like most final bosses in a Sonic game, you take control of Super Sonic. This time, the fight being closer to the Bio-Lizard fight in Sonic Adventure 2, which you and your partner, this time it being Classic Sonic instead of Shadow, fly around the stage dodging the boss's attacks. Speaking of which, the Time Eater has 3 attacks. The homing shot,
Away, bitch!
warped arm,
I'm dealing with you!
and however, the Time Eater's attacks isn't the only thing you have to dodge. During the fight, you will also have to dodge the most downright terrifying thing I've ever seen in a video game. Reused assets. During this fight, Sonic's friends, who won't shut the fuck up, will tell you to charge into the Time Eater's core, which is the main way of defeating him. So, 3 hits later and a very concussed duo of Sonics, the Eggmans finally pulls out their desperation attack, summoning the sun to kill Sonic like that other game. However, unlike that time, you can actually do something about this. One of Sonic's friends, chosen at random, will tell you to combine their powers by pressing the right and left bumper buttons. The 2 of them power through the sun, crashing into the Time Eater's core one final time, finally ending the boss. We get a conclusive cutscene with everyone, including people who weren't there at the beginning of the game, enjoying themselves at Sonic's birthday party, before a portal to Green Hill opens again, indicating that Classic Sonic and Classic Tails has to leave. Classic tries to do a homing attack, Modern tells Classic Sonic that his future will be great, and the game ends with a post-credit scene between the 2 Eggmans stuck in white space. And I still like this game. It's a genuinely good Sonic game that I still enjoy even 12 years after its release. Sure,
There are parts that could have been better, like some of the levels and the amount of 2D sections for modern Sonic, but I cannot deny that this is a good game, and it's much better than some of the Sonic games that released before 2011, like Sonic Colors and Sonic and the Secret Rings. If you are interested in the game, or even just in Sonic in the slightest, I suggest you buy the game, because I think you will have a genuinely good time with it. And with that being said, thank you all so very much for watching. I have been working on this project for a really long time, and I'm glad to finally get this out to the world. Next review won't be as long, I promise, and it won't take as long either. Anyways, I will see you all next time, and until then, goodbye.